So evidently, Toons is about to be a tier 0 deck. So make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. This is a very, very toony video here. There was a tournament that was recently hosted that was showcasing, all known cards. We got to see Revolution Booster in full swing, not accounting for all of the reveals yet, but it was enough to, go for unreleased card pool, what existed. You get Chaos Origins mixed in here. You get some of the other powerful cards. And this data is very alarming because the amount of developments with Toons is frightening. And honestly, I'm kind of intrigued by this because the optimization that it feels like this deck is experiencing right now is just crazy. Now, for this event, we did have 12 Toon players in representation. Now, I want to point out that the next closest deck is a 4 of. All right, so more than a good chunk of this field were comfortable enough and experienced enough to want to pick up Toons and were wanting to play it. Now, we did have 4 players on the new Chaos deck, which is the Dark Magician Mind Shuffle deck, where you're able to rotate through high monsters and you're able to kind of set up a pretty decently strong field for everything. And I'm shocked about that deck doing well, but Toons is crazy. We also had only 2 players on Cool Toons. Now, Cool Toons is supposed to be the current best deck in the room. Nobody's really going to argue about that. But suddenly, the best deck has been chonked down to not even making a top 4 appearance out of this event, which is incredibly nerve-wracking to say. We also had 2 duelists choosing to play Radiant Typhoon. I'm shocked that you chose to play Radiant Typhoon into a Toon meta, because that is just an insanely crazy concept. That deck is nowhere near strong enough to try to do it. And there were 20 other decks unaccounted for. So this was a 40-man event playing with the newest technological advances in the meta. And you're telling me that Toons not only took first, second, top 4. There is an unpublished branded list that did make top 4 for this event. They did not share the data with that because the duelist wanted to keep it quiet. But branded somehow managed to find a way into this top cut. So, that's something to kind of factor for. So let's pass on over so you can take a look at Toon Purgatory. All right, so Toons. How, where, when, why, how? It appears that, we're not even playing a monster in the main deck with the Toon name anymore. It's just all of these cards are treated as a Toon monster while Toon World is effectively on the field. The crazier part is, the Illusionist has just been slotted in as a potential one of just to get Mind Scan up and running. While Mind Scan does provide you with absurd levels of protection, the rest of this deck is just going to need to see the Bunny and Field Spell. Actually, just needs to see Bunny. And you're able to start setting up a decently strong board against the opponent. Now, also, yes, that is the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. The Blue Eyes Toon Dragon has been kicked to the side deck for this variant, which is insane because I feel like this is a card that is usually looked at as one of the most important pieces to this deck. So if you're going into this and you're like, all right, cool, so how do we prep for the mirror? Ghost Ogres, pop Field Spell, check. Delta, blast Field Spell, check. The Field Spell is this deck's lifeline, though you've also got to be very aware that they still have Toon Table Contents, they still have this. They have so much protection that they can, or so much searchability they can just kind of go for, that the rest of this deck, once again, just needs to be control pops for you to, take care of the things that the Toon deck is wanting to go with. Also, your extra deck down here is Hydra Drive Dragon Insanity, which is just kind of hilarious. You're able to just set up an incredibly strong board as you're kind of going through, the bells and whistles for this. So I found this to be very cool. I love Toons. I love that, they're optimizing on the optimization already for this deck. And it's crazy. Now, don't worry. This whole video is dedicated to the crack party ideas of Toons. Now, this particular Toon list, we have gone ahead and we've kicked Evil Box into the side deck. Still no poor Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. He's nowhere to be seen. This list is relying on 2 Dark Eyes to get the Mind Scan up and running. We're relying on the rest of the Toon stuff. But this list has gone even further beyond. We've brought in our favorite Yummy cards just to make this even more painful. And it's crazy because, Yummy's just going to set up the end board on the Herald of the Arclight with maybe a splash of IP to go into SP to be able to remove things. But also, we can mode change, make the Dark Rebellion. This is what we're going into now. We're relying on Phobos as a potential target to mode change into. Yeah, this I consider to be innovation, people. Because, why are we taking Yummy cards and slamming them into this deck? Well, it's because we get access to the Illusion of Chaos. And Mr. Illusion of Chaos's job is to keep the Congo line going so that you can feed off of your dead cards after you've already fulfilled their purpose. Yummy really just truly goes in anything. Now, don't worry. We're going even further beyond. Now, this is kind of the version that I was kind of expecting to see. Where you're bringing in, you have access to the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. That way you can kind of soft loop through the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragons. Now, one of the cool things that this list does, you're able to get Georgius up and running on the field because, and I quote, Chorozo is a tuner monster that you can just make with this deck. And for whatever reason, giving, this deck access to Chorozo, as you can kind of climb up some of the ladders to be able to get set up. Also, Evil Box plus Chorozo equals Baron. You have some crazy gosh darn consistency that Konami pulled off with building this. I do also see we're playing the Abyss Dragon Soul in here. What is this? If a monster is banished by a card effect, except during damage typing, special summon this card from the graveyard, even was there when it was banished or hand. If a banishment leaves field, and then if this card is special summon, target 1 card in the field zone and 1 card your opponent controls, or in the graveyard, and banish them. Okay, so this is I guess this is an emergency tool option to the Evil Box, if I had to guess. Because Evil Box, well, this place is 1 back, so you're not going to get access to that. I know there was something in Toons that has the ability to banish, but, interesting. We really are having to take strides and leaps here in order to try to counter this deck. And I guess that's fine. You never really know when you're going to need to cook up something. So, more Toon madness. Also, yes, that is the Toon Mermaid. This combo deck is pretty good. Now, we're going even further beyond. Now, this list is actually playing the triple Mind Crush in the main deck. Mind Crush provides you with the insight to know what you need to paralyze out of the opponent's hand for Toons, which I know a lot of people are not going to really be happy to see this, but due to the rulings, but you have to rely on this, man. You don't really have much of a choice. You've also got Vidos on call here to take this stupid field spell out. If you're noticing here, the antics of this format are how much control, how much push, and how much shove can I put in front of this deck to try to slow it down. And I think that this list is pretty good. You've got the standard consultants available to do that. And then our last list here is, we're back on Combo Island here. You're still relying, you have the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon in the main deck, you have Impulses and things like that, but you've also got the Toon Mermaid and the Dark Magician in here to get those initial early combos going. I see we're also playing Winter Cherries. It's interesting though, because Winter Cherries, obviously, if you do hit the Chirozzo, you do cut them off with some of the combo, which is kind of nice. But we've also got Pata going second in here to kind of give you a shot. But I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. This is a little bit interesting, to say the least, for where this meta looks like it's going. But please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons! Thank you!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.